maybe answer the question with a rhetoric, right? Is every Canadian company that's like duly registered with the local authorities, are they really all legitimate businesses? I think everybody can take a moment to think about it. And the short answer, I think in both countries would be a very much no, right? It really comes down to this company may exist, legally speaking, but it doesn't mean that it will be the right partner for you. It doesn't mean that it will have the right qualification or history or resources to support what you want them to do. So the devil is in the details. For Canadian companies entering into the China market, in particular, there will be cultural differences, there will be language obstacles, differences in legal framework. So it is thus necessary to really get to the bottom of things. And I think ultimately, looking at business partner relationships and what to look for, this differs a lot in different countries, but there are also a lot of commonalities. So being a Chinese myself, I'm not here to badge to say all Chinese companies are bad. And I think also to really emphasize, due diligence is not really to give a black or white picture to say if a partner is bad or good, because a lot of times we say that the beauty is in the eyes of the beholders, right? So we're really helping you to get sufficient information, facts, and color on the counterpart that you're going to deal with so that you form a sound business decision. One of the challenges today, I think, is in the internet world, everything is instantaneous. Everybody wants to see everything, and there's a lot of things at fingertips, right? I think more companies than not, there is sort of a misconception when they're conducting due diligence, right? They focus too much on what I call numbers. So they will be calling a credit report, so-called credit report on the company. They will try to look at the P&L or balance sheet of the company to see if they're financially viable, which I think is a small element, a necessary element of due diligence. But I would really, caution companies, especially those are not really operating onshore, to really take a huge grain of salt with the financial numbers. One is that there is a lot of differences in terms of financial reporting, and we also heard, the repeated story that a lot of Chinese companies have 3 or 4 different sets of books, one for government, one for internal use, one for the stock exchange, and perhaps one for the wife and one for the mistress, right? So you really don't know which set of books that you're looking at. But more importantly is that even if the company is in good financial standing, i.e. it has a lot of assets, it has a lot of capital, it doesn't mean that it is going to honor its contractual obligation. So from a due diligence perspective, my sort of guidance to clients is sometimes focus less on the immediate level, that will be the corporate entity you're dealing with, and focus less on the numbers, i.e. the financial statement you're being presented, but focus more on the people behind the company who are running the company, because regardless whether it's a state-owned enterprise, it's a public listed company, it's a private company, it's a family business, ultimately they're all run by people. So to really try to get a sense or a forecast on your future relationship and how it's going to be going with these counterparties it's critical to really understand where do these people come from, what is their historical track records in dealing with their past business partners, have they honored their obligations. Especially I think people are now talking about a slowdown in China, which is a reality, is happening. And in any country, businesses go through cycles, the up and downs. It is always better when it's a bullish market, everybody is making money, perhaps things don't transfer as desperate crisis as it does when you're in a down market. In a down market, it's more of a chance to really test the integrity, the honor of your business partner. So to really understand how the business partner in the past have dealt with like a down market, how they have dealt with in particular foreign business partners would be really, really important, because that would almost demonstrate as almost a sign of how they are likely going to behave in the future. almost 20 years ago when I started in this business, right? Due diligence was really a challenge because if you go into the English Chinese dictionary for due diligence, right, there is really no translation. It wasn't up until much later, about 15 years ago, we start calling it 尽职调查. In China, the challenge would be, number one, there is no nationwide consolidated comprehensive litigation records. You can combine many different databases and try to get what you can, but it's never really a catch-all exercise. But the more important part of that is really the fact that in Asia in general and in China in particular, there may be a lengthy dispute between two partners, but they decided to sort it out to get an out-of-court settlement somehow. And this would not show up in any kind of litigation searches you conduct, but it doesn't mean that the dispute is not there. It's just a different way in different culture of how people deal with different problems. So thus, to really address this particular kind of gap in information availability, talking to people, getting information from living and breathing people who have their insights would be a critical part. But on the other hand, it also means that it actually is going to take more time and money and resources to accomplish and complete this.